Good left hand, and down goes Williams.
Welcome back to one of the greatest series on YouTube.
How dare you talk to me like that? You should get up and kneel to me now, and I'll spare you the night of the 28th.
25 knockouts that should have been censored, part 2. Here we analyze some of the knockouts that are so nasty that they honestly should have been censored later on. Grab your snacks, sit tight, and let's get started. This is Boxing Matrix. Enjoy this video. The Panamanian hero. Duran's 6th defense of the WBA title was against Ray Lampkin. The champion had fought less than a month before, though in his previous 4 fights he had never been stretched beyond the 2nd round. The challenger stood his ground early on, seemingly undeterred by having to fight in Duran's backyard in Panama City. Duran duly forced a stoppage in the 14th, landing a hook that sent his rival straight to the canvas. Boxing's rich history is full of great fights that were toe-to-toe brawls that go the distance and give the fans a full 10 to 12 rounds of action. And one of them is the great Ernie Shavers. Ernie Shavers put his punching power on full display for all to see and left Jimmy Ellis knocked out and convulsing. Shavers entered the fight with an impressive record of 45-2, 32 wins in a row, and with 44 of the 45 coming by way of knockout. With this vicious knockout, one could see why he had a 97% knockout to win ratio entering the fight. Nonito Donaire made quick work of Fernando Montiel, knocking him out in the 2nd round of their WBC and WBO bantamweight title fight. Donaire rifled off 24 wins in a row after suffering a loss in his 2nd professional fight, and showed the boxing community he is indeed a force to be reckoned with, winning the WBC and WBO titles from the equally dangerous Fernando Montiel. By the looks of the aftermath, things could have been much worse for Montiel.
Montiel has seen the canvas 6 times in his career, and there's never been down. Good right.
Oh, there he is. Out of here. It's over with. It's over with.
One of the biggest upsets in boxing history took place at the Tokyo Dome in 1990, when Buster Douglas, a 42-1 underdog, knocked out the previously unbeaten Iron Mike Tyson in the 10th round of the heavyweight championship fight. Douglas went on to lose his next fight to Evander Holyfield, and never was a serious factor in the boxing world ever again. He will forever be remembered for his stunning upset of one of boxing's greatest fighters.
Expected to see here.
It appears that Tyson is virtually a one-eyed fighter at this point.
A desperate one-eyed fighter. Brawling willingly just to try to get in the shot that will finish things in.
Oh, the uppercut.
What an uppercut by Douglas, and down goes Tyson.
Mike Weaver delivered a huge knockout over John Tate at an improbable time during their fight in 1980. The powerful blow came at the end of the 15th and final round of their heavyweight fight, making the knockout all the more impressive, considering it came after a grueling 14 rounds of action. We will never witness a spectacle like this again, since the longest a boxing match can go now is 12 rounds.
Time up. I see some blood on the shoulder of Tate. That's got to be coming from somewhere. So far, I haven't exactly seen where. There's a overhand right high on the side of Tate's head by Weaver. I guess Mike's nose is bleeding a little bit. Maybe what it is. Left back! Tate goes down in his face!
Roy Jones Jr. delivered a quick first-round knockout of Montel Griffin in their rematch. Jones Jr. came into the fight with revenge on his mind, suffering his first professional loss after being disqualified against Griffin 5 months earlier for hitting Griffin while he was down on his knees. Jones Jr. made sure he showed the boxing world that it was just a minor bump in the road at the prime of his career, and went on to win 15 fights in a row before suffering another loss.
For Roy Jones so far.
Roy Jones is playing the fainting game, and Griffith is benefiting by it. Oh, what a left hook. What a left hook.
Second knockdown of the round.
That was a leaping left hook, and Griffin may not survive it.
He's got trouble. 9. And that's that.
Kermit Centron gave Walter Dario Matisse the punch of a lifetime when he knocked him out in round 2 of their bout. Centron dominated this short-lived fight and ended it with a devastating left, then a right hand for good measure, after knocking down Matisse 2 times before in the fight.
Right hand sends Matisse down again.
His legs are shot. Matisse knows where he is, but his legs are not cooperating with the commands his brain is sending right now.
And the quicker hands of Centron. Oh, and a left-right combination of Matisse down, and it's over.
Roy Jones Jr. was on the opposite side of the knockout in 2004. Glenn Johnson knocked Jones Jr. out cold in round 9 of their 12-round fight. Coming on the heels of Jones Jr.'s first loss in 15 fights to Antonio Tarver, Johnson delivered a solid right to the side of Jones Jr.'s head, knocking him out, leaving him lying on the mat unconscious for a few minutes after the fight was called.
A decision.
I think you're going to see Roy at this round. I think panic is setting in. Now you're going to see him do whatever he wants to do or has to do. He's going to start doing it this round right now. I think he really realizes that he's getting in jeopardy of losing the fight. Before he felt it was okay.
Well, he turned it up against
He takes a right hand and a left hand, and he's on the canvas again.
Lennox Lewis gave Hasim Rockman just what he gave him in their first fight, a knockout loss. Lewis first won a battle in court to obtain his immediate rematch against Rockman, as Rockman tried to land another opponent for his first title defense. Lewis went on to defend his title 2 more times after beating Rockman before calling it a career, beating Mike Tyson and Vitaly Klitschko.
Yeah, but the one thing that lives in Lennox Lewis' head, that night in Africa.
Yep.
You can't take that away from him.
You know, even his own corner said to him, to Rockman, if he punches, just keep your hands high. They're telling him not to counterpunch.
Boom!
Manny Pacquiao delivered the best knockout of his career against the once unknockoutable Ricky Hatton. Pacquiao knew he had to put on an impressive display against Hatton after Mayweather knocked Hatton out and delivered an even more impressive fashion, knocking Hatton out in round 2 as opposed to Mayweather's 10th round knockout a year and a half earlier.
The movement of Pacquiao keeping Hatton in trouble.
Manny Pacquiao never fails to surprise me with what he brings to the table. It's always a little better than I thought.
Jerry Cooney delivered a fast and disturbing knockout of Ken Norton, knocking him out in round 1. Cooney's destructive series of punches left Norton out cold, ending up being the last fight of Norton's career. A career came to an end, but in an honorable way.
Left hand, a hard by Cooney. Norton bangs away now at Cooney in Norton's corner. And another left hand scores it again. The legs of Norton wobble. Norton is hurt in his own corner. Cooney trying to measure him. Misses 2 uppercuts, but scores with combinations of left hands going straight up. Norton is about to drop. Norton is on his knees and finally slumps to the corner. He is not.
Mike Tyson gave us a knockout to remember when he knocked out Michael Spinks. Tyson barreled his way into the fight, defending his title 7 straight times, 5 of them by KO. Spinks came into the fight with a perfect record of 31-0, 21 of those wins by knockout, and was heralded by many people as the legitimate champion, even though Tyson held all the belts. Tyson was the first and last person to knock down and out Spinks, as well as the first person to ever beat Spinks in his 32 professional bouts.
It was the left uppercut.
First time Michael Spinks has ever been down in a professional fight.
And he's down again and in serious trouble. A right hand right on the chin.
6, 7, 8. He's not going to make it.
Ray Mercer handed Tommy Morrison a vicious series of punches, knocking him out in dramatic fashion. Both fighters came into the fight with undefeated records. Mercer, 17-0, was fresh off his victory against Francisco Damiani, giving him the WBO heavyweight title. Morrison came in winning 28 fights in a row, with 23 of them being knockouts. Morrison was outclassed and outpunched in the fight and never really gave Mercer much of a fight.
Morrison, he was getting away from the game plan to start working the body more.
Right, he wants him to go back, but he wants him to relax too. Like I said, he looked real anxious and uptight at the beginning of this fight, and that'll wear you out in itself, just that nervousness.
Mercer with two good right hands. And now Mercer on Morrison in the corner. And Mercer's all over him, and Morrison in trouble. And Morrison goes down for the first time in his career.
David Tua knocked out John Ruiz with thunderous authority during their WBC International Heavyweight title fight. Tua, 22-0 at the time of the fight, came out with the intention of knocking Ruiz out and did so in quick fashion, ending the fight in 19 seconds. Tua caught Ruiz with a powerful left, then landed a succession of punches knocking Ruiz out.
Of Lennox Lewis.
The great Arturo Gatti knocked out Joey Gamache in convincing fashion during their fight in 2000. Gatti was known for his brawling style and knockout abilities that he enforced on Gamache in the second round of their fight, laying Gamache out with a left-right-left combo. Gamache was out on his feet, and making the knockout worse for Gamache, his head bounced off the ring.
This night is because of the reach. Gatti is able to land these right hands from a distance, even at hook for reaching.
He also looks so much bigger than he does.
Yeah, and he's got a 15-pound weight advantage. Every time he lands a shot, it's abundantly clear.
Julian Jackson took care of Harold Graham in spectacular fashion during their middleweight title fight. The devastating blow left Graham unconscious for around 5 minutes after he hit the canvas. The right hand that took him out knocked him out instantly.
Oh, what a punch! I can't believe that never been stopped in his career.
Sonny Liston's legacy may be a bit tainted because of the Phantom Punch controversy and the 2 losses to Muhammad Ali. Regardless, Liston in his prime was one of the most feared, intimidating heavyweights of all time. Here he was finally challenging for the heavyweight crown, and he wasted no time going after Floyd Patterson, who crumbled under a series of huge lefts.
The champion shaking off the effect of that left hook. A left, a grazing right, and a solid left to the cheekbone dropped the champion.
Bob Foster carried dynamite in his fists. He was arguably the most powerful puncher to ever occupy the light heavyweight division for a substantial amount of time. His only losses over his decade reign of terror were to heavyweights who carried over 20 pounds on him in the ring. In his signature moment, with his signature left hook, he cracked Dick Tiger across the bow and nearly sent his head off.
A minute to go in the round. How can you miss a punch over Foster's head? Tiger's down!
Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest fighter that has ever lived. But by 1957, his prime was several years past. He lost his middleweight crown to a very good fighter, Gene Fullmer. And heading into the rematch, it was obvious that Robinson's reflexes, speed, and stamina had begun to fade. In the 5th round of the rematch, one thing that hadn't faded became clear: his power.
Smacking right hand landed by Sugar Ray Robinson to the ribs of Gene Fullmer.
The diminutive Billy Conn, giving up 25 pounds to the great Joe Louis, was on the verge of capturing the heavyweight crown. He had outfought and outboxed Louis for 12 rounds. In the fateful 13th, Conn went in for the kill, right in the danger area against the bigger, stronger man. When Louis connected with a few of his patented combinations, Conn was hurt, and no one finished a job like Joe Louis did. Floyd Patterson became the first fighter to ever reclaim the heavyweight championship with this vicious knockout of his rival and later friend, Ingemar Johansson. Johansson had beaten Patterson badly and stopped him in their first contest to claim the title. Patterson snatched it right back with one of the most talked about knockouts of all time. In perhaps the most famous boxing event ever, Muhammad Ali secured his legacy as the greatest heavyweight of all time with this classic performance and knockout sequence. Foreman was an absolute beast, one of the sport's most savage knockout punchers in his own right. It was beautifully timed, artful, a series of perfect steps and perfectly placed daggers that put the big man on the ground.
Left in round 8. Very even fight. Ali, a sneaky right hand. Another sneaky right hand. This time he works over the shoulder of Foreman.
Jack Johnson and Stanley Ketchel were going back and forth in a ho-hum fight until Ketchel caught Johnson with a good right hand and planted the champion on his butt. Johnson responded with one of the single biggest one-punch knockouts ever recorded.
California, October 16, 1909. Johnson is down. It was a terrific right to the jaw. The referee's count seems fast. Johnson's up at 8. He's mad. Ketchel's excited, comes in wide open, takes a right.
Joe Louis versus Max Schmeling. This fight was huge for Joe Louis on many levels. As a competitor, he wanted desperately to avenge the only blemish on his record, a knockout loss to Max Schmeling 2 years earlier. Louis did not disappoint. He pounced on Schmeling from the opening bell and pounded him into submission.
A dynamite right to the jaw, and Schmeling goes down here in the first round. Max is up at the count of 2. Louis moves in. Ripping punches by the Brown Bomber send Schmeling down again. A crushing right explodes off Schmeling's jaw, and Max goes down to the...
What more can you say about this one? Marciano, trailing on the scorecards, taking a boxing lesson for 12 rounds from the crafty Walcott, was in need of something. The right hand that caught Jersey Joe hit him like a brick, and Rocky threw in a left hook, swiping his chin for good measure. The second punch didn't matter. Walcott was out cold.
Walcott plainly is intent on staying away now. Be careful. That's the right hand, Walcott.
This was our list for the 25 knockouts that should have been censored. Boxing is not a game, and this video reminded us of that. This is Boxing Matrix. Thank you for watching.